Hello friends, I am Manish Maharshi, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government Dungar College, Bikaner. Now in this 10th video, we will resume the poem Andre del Sarto by Robert Browning. Andre del Sarto is one of Browning's greatest dramatic monologues. It is based on historical facts as recorded by George Vasari in his biography of Andre del Sarto. Browning has, however, mixed his own thoughts with historical facts so that the sad and infinite pathetic soul, in its stunted growth and wasted form, lives before us in the poem. As Biodor remarks, Andre del Sarto was indeed a faultless painter according to his contemporaries. It is equally true that his paintings lacked elevation or idealism. In his poem, Browning tells us why Andre was incapable of being a glorious, great artist. He wanted to achieve great heights in his art, but somehow he failed, and in this dramatic monologue, we see that he tries to find out what were the reasons. He is enumerating the causes, he is just glossing over his life, and he is speaking to his wife Lucrezia. She is silent listener in this dramatic monologue. First I will read out the poem and then we will discuss what Andre is trying to say. You called me and I came home to your heart. The triumph was to reach and stay there. Since I reached it ere the triumph, what is lost? Let my hands frame your face in your hair's gold, you beautiful Lucrezia that are mine. Raphael did this, Andre painted that. The Romans is the better when you pray, but still the other's virgin was his wife. Men will excuse me. I am glad to judge both pictures in your presence. Clearer grows my better fortunes, I resolve to think. For do you know, Lucrezia, as God lives, said one day Angelo, his very self, to Raphael, I have known it all these years, when the young man was flaming out his thoughts upon a palace wall for Rome to see, too lifted up in heart because of it. Friend, there's a certain sorry little scrub goes up and down our Florence, none cares how, who were he set to plan and execute as you are, pricked on by your popes and kings, would bring the sweat into that brow of yours to Raphael, and indeed the arm is wrong. In the previous stanza, Andre recalled the days he spent in France under the royal patronage of Francis I as happy days. If Lucrezia had not become impatient, he blames, and had not called him back, he would have achieved some artistic fame. And in this way, he is trying to put the blame on Lucrezia. He wants to make Lucrezia feel guilty for his being not a great artist. He adds, however, that is it is of no use talking about something which belongs to the past and is beyond recall. In any case, the life he spent in France was too full of intense glory and splendor for a person like him, who was more suited to sober mediocrity. Again, he oscillates in back to his formal thought. He tries to find faults in his own character. He says that he is not a kind of person who can achieve, who has that melt in him, that 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 thing in him which can make him a great artist. He compares himself to the bat which is too weak-eyed to stand dazzling sunlight. He, like the bat, prefers the grey shady half light of a room. He is happier within the four walls which form his world. It is it was only right that the life in France came to an end and he returned to Lucrezia. Andre says that it was Lucrezia who became impatient to meet him, but equally opposite is also true if we see that he was also very impatient to meet Lucrezia. He says that it was the final triumph, it was the ultimate goal for him to achieve the love of Lucrezia. And in these lines he says he had wanted to achieve artistic fame and glory so as to win Lucrezia's love forever. But since he had won her love without any artistic triumph, he has lost nothing by coming home at her call. His main purpose was to reach her heart, and that he had achieved. His failure as a painter was therefore no great matter. And thus we see that he was himself looking for the love of Lucrezia, the meeting with Lucrezia as of great importance than to achieve the great artistic heights. And it is because of his his character's failure as to concentrate on his art, he failed as a great artist. Andre in these lines points to two paintings of Madonna, one by Raphael and other by himself. Madonna is one of the most most predominant subject of paintings and sculpture during the Renaissance period. Every great artist wanted to paint or want to sculpt the the image of Madonna. And Andre now points out to a picture, to two pictures in fact, to Lucrezia, and says that one by one is painted by Raphael and the other is painted by Andre himself. People, of course, he says that would admire Raphael's picture and says that his Madonna is more fit for devotional use, for it has a spiritual beauty. The look on the face of the image of Madonna painted by Raphael has a quality, has a serenity, has a divinity which will make it a fit subject when somebody wants to paint. And Andre says that Andre's hymns painting did not express divine force, but he gives a logic behind this and says that people will excuse him for having made his Madonna look more human as he had used his wife for a model. In fact, Andre used Lucrezia as a model for Madonna, and the expression that were lying on the face of Lucrezia came on the picture of this Madonna. Andre considers himself all the more lucky after comparing his own painting with that of Raphael. He tells Lucrezia about what he once overheard long ago, and in a in a way he tries to boast about his thing, his art. Michelangelo, he says, the great artist himself has made some remark to Raphael which Andre swears to report truthfully. He says that both he says that for said one day Angelo his very self to Raphael, I have known it all these years, when the young man was flaming out his thoughts upon a palace wall for Rome to see, too lifted up in his heart because of it. Friend, there's a certain sorry little scrub goes up and down over Florence. None cares how, who were he set to plan and execute as you are, prigged on by your popes and kings, would bring the sweat into that brow of yours to Raphael. He says that 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 was the time when young Raphael was painting at the palace in Rome for all the people to see. People of proud of people's praise of his accomplishment, he was painting out his ideas under the fire of inspiration, the divine imagination, and Angelo told Raphael that there was a poor and insignificant fellow going about the street of Florence. He refers to himself. Nobody himself means Andre himself, and nobody cares about him. But if he were asked to plan and paint pictures under the encouragement and patronage of popes and kings, as Raphael was, he would prove a serious rival to Raphael. And thus, Andre tries to point out that Andre's skill, if properly encouraged, would have made Raphael sweat with fear that his position as a great artist was threatened. Andre's pathetic desire to impress Lucrezia and his wistful nostalgia for what might have been Mark is clearly seen in these lines.